Okay, so good evening, everyone present to be here, and I am Dr. Bhuta, and my topic of this session is energy awareness in WSNs and IoT-based framework. So, if you see the title of the presentation, you can already you can fetch three key words. One is energy awareness, another is WSN, and third one is IoT. Okay, so how to correlate these three keywords in a particular area, that is actually intention of this presentation. Okay, so before that, you have already gone through several sessions and different aspects of IoT have already discussed. I have already present, actually I was present in 2 or 3 sessions, especially Dr. Sudeep Mishra, Professor Mishra, and Dr. Barnwell. Okay, they have enlightened their presentation on the various dimensions of IoT. Actually, IoT is not a single ultimate solution. So many additional features are actually added here that can be explored with the concept of IoT. Okay, so here three keywords I will actually converge to a particular point, that energy awareness, WSNs, and IoT. So this is the outline of my presentation, and according to the title of the presentation, I have just classified into basic three classes. One is WSNs, where we can go through the sensor nodes. That is specially just to highlight the sensor node activity in case of data communications or like that. And obviously a communication is a part of WSNs, and architecture in a brief, then several challenges in WSNs, and obviously the energy awareness and some applications we will go through. And then we will correlate actually where the WSN is placed in IoT. Huh? So we will conclude something in of WSN in perspective of IoT. Then we will come together, that is IoT, in some discussions on IoT, that is some communication protocols, some computing frameworks, some applications, and obviously I have observed in previous sessions actually several several sessions are conducted in terms of different aspects of IoT, and where actually technology which is applicable and which type of applications are actually in our findings that are discussed. But nowadays data analysis is very demanding era of data analysis, because by this IoT or technology, several data are generated time by time. Huh? So how to handle those data and how to store this data such that data can be utilized, and how it is utilized, obviously in terms of some prediction, some rules, these can be formed that have more impact nowadays. Based on this decision, based on this framework, analysis framework, we can go for future exploration. Okay, so the part of IoT data analysis which was not possibly discussed in session, and what are the significance of this part, that I will include in my presentation. And obviously our key term another is energy efficiency, and how this energy efficiency is correlated with IoT obviously technology, that we will discuss and we will conclude something here. So this is my overall presentation, obviously outline. Now initially, the wireless sensor network, where actually, in case of any network, how do you define a network? Obviously, it forms a collection of nodes, and that node are actually, we will assume that autonomous nodes, and these nodes are actually distributed in different area or different locations that are connected somehow. So here the nodes are sensor nodes, and you can see in the figure sensor nodes are there. And these sensor nodes, we will discuss the architecture, but before that, this wireless sensor network is now is now very much popular due to the rapid advancement of microelectronics, mechanical system, computer networks, wireless technology. So many advanced technologies are there by which we are making WSNs as much as possible popular. Okay, so whenever it is popular, we will try to apply it in different potential applications in different areas. And mainly those areas: healthcare, obviously coal mining, several industrial applications are there. So many applications are here that can be implemented through WSNs. And now, obviously, the most benefit of these sensor nodes for deployment in target area, that it can operate in harsh or unattended environments. That means if you see a deep forest or underwater, where actually man cannot go individually due to security reason, but if you drop from a helicopter, if you drop sensor nodes from helicopter, then you can form a network and you can collect data from there, such that this data can be utilized by processing something, and you can extract some knowledge. Okay, so this is the benefit of the sensor networks, that it can operate in harsh or unattended environments where actually human intervention is not needed. Okay, so that is one of the reason that makes WSNs much more popular. And obviously, monitoring the network in this particular area by human, it is not possible, it is risky and obviously inefficient by human to do something here, and sometimes infeasible. So that is the reason or motivation of the WSNs are becoming popular nowadays, and so many application areas are there where actually WSNs can be applied, like healthcare, safety, intruder detection, environment monitoring, disaster warning system. So many applications area, vast area are there. So we are discussing in the previous slides that the benefit of these WSNs, that you have to deploy sensor nodes where actually human individually cannot access. So deployment of the sensor nodes in the target area, basically that can be done either ad hoc basis or pre-planned way. Pre-planned means manually. Okay, so in case of ad hoc deployment, the sensor nodes may be dropped by the helicopter, but however, whenever you are using this ad hoc deployment, obviously it requires huge amount of large number of sensor nodes, such that it can make a full coverage of that region. Okay, so because you are using, in case of using ad hoc deployment, one of the constraints is you can use large number of sensor nodes parallelly. You have to think the coverage problem, that is you have to cover the whole region. So huge number of sensor nodes required. But in case of pre-planned or manual deployment, obviously you can easily access where actually you have to deploy those sensor nodes, that is pre-planned or manual manner. And obviously the outcome of this deployment, where you can access this region, obviously better network management can be obtained, as well as energy saving of the sensor nodes that can be done. Energy saving, that is a crucial point in our presentation, but we will discuss in depth, that is what is energy saving, obviously. But if you apply those pre-planned or manual deployment procedure, you can have better network management as well as energy saving of the sensor nodes that can be done. But in contrast of ad hoc deployment, whereas ad hoc deployment requires a huge number of sensor nodes, obviously so many sensor may be damaged, huh? So to make a full coverage of the region, it requires huge number of sensor nodes. On the other hand, in case of pre-planned or manual deployments, actually it minimizes the network cost. Network cost means limited number of sensor nodes can be used here. So minimizing the covering cost with minimum number of sensor nodes ultimately reduces the network cost. So pre-planned manner or pre-planned deployment procedure for sensor nodes, obviously it requires minimum covers as it minimizes covering cost with minimum number of sensor nodes. So these are the deployment procedures. Now we will go through little bit of sensor nodes because currently different types of sensor nodes are available in market for different activities, temperature sense, humidity sense. In case of agriculture, you can see the different weather condition can be sensed. The crop type disease can be sensed, or soil information can be sent. Huh? So ultimately you have to use those sensor nodes to collect the raw data from the physical environment. And what are the actually if you look at the sensor nodes, different subsystems are in there. One is sensing subsystem, processing subsystem, communication subsystem, and power supply unit. So mainly 4 components are there for a sensor node. Sensing subsystem, that means tomorrow obviously a session is there at the morning, Professor Subroto Nandi, and he will discuss elaborately the sensing procedure, how to sense from the physical phenomenon. That is his goal to present here. So sensing subsystem means a sensor unit is there along with some ADC converter. That means sensing subsystem uses this and to capture the physical data, analog information, and convert it to digital, that is ADC converter, and ultimately this digital information should fed into the processing subsystem. So this is the sensing subsystem, and processing subsystem is the major controller of the sensor node, that it controls the other sections or all other units, and so many services are provided by the processing subsystem. It's a microcontroller and little bit local storage is there. Okay, and communication subsystem, that means transceiver, and it actually handles all communications to the network, and mainly to join with the network, that is the responsible communication subsystem. And last one is power supply unit. Power supply unit, here mainly battery power actually used, but in case of some outdoor application, some more or additional power required, for that you have to use power generator. Okay, but main 4 subsystems or unit, whatever you can say, that are comprised in a sensor node. Now if you look through the detailed diagram, okay, basic components of a sensor node, apart from sensing unit, processing unit, and transceiver, power unit, the location finding system, mobilizer, and power generator are extra components are there. Because in case of wireless sensor network, so many algorithms, so many routing techniques are there, where actually main need to locate the physical location of the object. Okay, so how to sense this location? Obviously then with the component of location finding system, that may be a GPS module or any other software module that is incorporated. Okay, next one is mobilizer. Mobilizer means a sensor node can move from one location to another location, so that movement can be captured by the mobilizer. And obviously it is when a sensor node moves from one location to another location, in perspective of my presentation, it is energy critical process. Huge amount of energy is exhausted due to that. And you know the power supply is obviously limited. I will discuss obviously later. So mobilizer is a component which is present in the sensor node that can track the movement of the sensor node. And power generator, I have already discussed that power unit mainly battery power, but if additional power is required for an outdoor application, solar cells are there power as a power generator, and other scavenging energy scavenging techniques are there which can be used for power generator. Okay, so this is the overall structure of a sensor node, the basic components of the sensor node by which actually it can form the network. Now, so I have shown the structure of the node, but some limitations are there. What are those limitations? Limited and irreplaceable power source, because power is very limited. So there may be some situation where it cannot be re-energized, or some replacement procedure is not there. There is no scope to replace any other sensor node for that. So power constraint is a major factor of this sensor node, and impossible to replace the sensor node. And so, and you know, that ultimately creates a huge factor, a huge critical factor regarding energy consumption of the sensor node, because it can sense data, it can transmit data. So obviously for sensing, for receiving, for transferring data, a huge amount of energy is lost. Okay, for working, that is sending and receiving, transmission power is more, and obviously power is a critical resource, so obviously energy consumption is huge for sending and receiving those data. So energy consumption of the sensor nodes, it's a limitation. And now what will be the solution for providing against this limitation? So main solution is you have to do all of those things, all of those data communication through this network, but that should be energy efficient. And how to make this energy efficient solution? Through energy efficient clustering routing technique. We will develop so many routing techniques, so many cluster based routing technique where we can save energy, as it is a very critical resource, so you have to store it. How? So energy efficient clustering and routing are two important topics that are addressed by research community. Okay, and why and what is the benefit to save this energy? Obviously we will continue our work for a long period, so mainly to long run operation of WSNs we have to save energy. Okay, that means lifetime of the network should be improved if we save energy. Now a little bit of WSN architecture, and you see the figure. The major components are sensor nodes, and low power inexpensive sensor nodes are distributed in the target area through the deployment, ad hoc deployment or manual deployment, and these are actually communicated with the sink. Sink is a remote base station, and this remote base station is actually connected with the gateway or to the internet. And this communication between sensor nodes and sink node, communication between the sensor nodes and sinks node can be done either through single hop or through multi-hop communication. Okay, so four components are there and they form an architecture. What is the behavior of this figure? That is, sensor nodes collect data and they have local processing, and ultimately it sent to the sink, and sink from those multiple number of sources sensor nodes are there, they may collect or like that, and ultimately it is transferred to the gateway that can be applicable. But how? Obviously either through single hop or multi-hop communication. So two types of architecture are there based on this fact. One is flat architecture. In case of flat architecture, the each sensor node has similar responsibility. That means similar responsibility means each of the sensor node can sense data and send it to the sync node or base station. Okay, and you have seen the figure in left hand side. It is direct communication. That means sensor node can directly communicate with base station, that is single hop communication. Obviously it is only possible for small area network. That means small area network means where sensor nodes and base stations are located very close near to each other. And in case of multi-hop communication in flat architecture, it is only applicable for larger area network. That means where sensor node can sense the value data and it is sent to the corresponding base station through different sensor nodes, making some intermediate hops, and this is called the multi-hop communication. Okay, so in flat architecture both are possible. Another architecture is the hierarchical architecture. That means you have to present this behavior of data communication, that is sensor node to sync node data communication, in a logical manner. Logical manner means you can make a logical hierarchy for this communication. So in lower level the sensor nodes are there, and grouping of the sensor nodes into separate clusters, and obviously you can see the similarity of those nodes. Maybe the Euclidean distance here is there. Based on this distance you have to make a cluster of those sensor nodes, and then for each cluster there is a cluster head, and cluster head has responsibility to forward this aggregated data to data aggregation, mainly aggregated data to sync node. Okay, so it's a left hand side figure. It's a single hop communication. That means each cluster node can directly communicate with the base station. And in case of the right hand side, the hierarchical architecture, that means lower level, the ordinary cluster members, ordinary sensor nodes are there, among which one of them is denoted as cluster head, and this cluster head communicates with next cluster head. That means ultimately you have to deliver your data, but via intermediate hops, intermediate several number of cluster heads. So by this type of behavior, actually this communication is possible. Now what about the challenges in WSNs? If you go through this, so from till that discussion some challenges are open. That is the energy source, which is very limited and irreplaceable. And scalability is one of the factor of WSNs, because network size are different size. That means area size, target area size varies, and so so many 100 to 1000 sensor nodes, different numbers of sensors are deployed in different network size. So scalability is one of the important challenge for making energy efficient routing. And fault tolerance, another challenge. That means sensor node is very prone to failure. Okay, in many cases, that is environmental hazards, device problem, energy exhausted. So many reasons are there for which a sensor node can damage. Sensor node may get faulty. So how to complete the data communication or data transferring to sensor node to sync under this faulty situation, that is one of the challenge. Okay, so fault tolerant routing algorithm, you may know the term. So that is also possible, or obviously day by day it's a challenge. And self-organization means a harsh environment is there. You have to deploy sensor nodes, and then they can make a self-organization. Obviously that is one of the challenge. And another challenge is limited processing, limited storage, as well as limited communication. That means we have to consider the sensor transmission range. So why? Because communication is a challenge. Shorter communication range is there. So so these are the challenges in WSNs. So at that time, actually you have to know there is always confusion between ad hoc network and sensor network. Okay, so both have some characteristics, common characteristics, both have some differences. Okay, in which factor they are very common and they are differentiate from each other, that you have to know. In case of both ad hoc nodes and sensor node are distributed, they both perform multi-hop communication routing. In case of differences, that obviously scalability is one of the challenge of WSN, and human intervention is another challenge of WSNs. So these are also an energy critical. Okay, so in that respect, actually you can differentiate WSN from ad hoc network. Now, energy awareness in WSNs. Okay, several electronic devices involved with different wireless technology. So many wireless technology, advanced wireless technologies are there, by which you are making your sensor network, or you're using an IoT device or like that. You are making a platform of IoT. Okay, so different data rates are different wireless technologies, and obviously much data rate actually exhaust energy. So power requirements, whenever you are using more advanced technology, much data rate is there, parallelly you have to consider the power requirements. And that is energy awareness in WSNs. Okay, so just I'm giving an example of how energy is very critical nowadays. We are always in several aspects we are trying to save energy, maybe electrical energy, maybe biogas energy, that may be renewable energy. Okay, so our main intention to save energy, and because day by day energy wastage is actually energy wastage is unnecessary wastage of energy, you have seen. uh, 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 Before that, when we are using the simple mobile phone, that have not Android phone, okay, so charge may be there, but whenever nowadays our mobile phones equipped with several applications, we are carrying along with our mobile phone, that is adapter or battery device. Okay, so we are always concerned how much we can communicate with others, saving the energy. That is one of the concern in our subconscious mind. So limited supply of energy of the nodes in WSN. Why? So you have to make utilization of energy in such a way that your network must be performed efficiently. Okay, so energy consumption is now becoming a challenge. That is, reduced energy consumption is needed, and it may become a major issue, such that the lifespan of the node should be as long as possible to avoid constant human intervention. It is an energy awareness in WSNs. Now see the slide. WSN applications, all are energy critical applications, because sensor nodes are used here, and sensor node is energy critical. So some of them is forest fire detection. How to make that? We have to deploy in ad hoc manners for in forest sensor nodes, and sensor node can sense periodically that the information regarding the fire, and it's sent to the remote location, the controller room, and if any unwanted situation occurs, obviously the sensed information can process, and obviously an alert message should be conveyed to all. Okay, so forest fire detection, flood detection, by which we can sense the water level, or any other parameter to detect flood. In home applications, so many parameters are there that can be sensed by sensor, the temperature, humidity, that you are using air condition. So if humidity is quite large, then automatically AC machine is regulated. So many applications in home that can be use of IoT or like that. And agriculture application, so now central government policy, that IoT based agriculture, because you have to predict before that what type of weather is suitable for which type of crops, soil information, because all land distribution is not even. So please go through the sensing procedure in soil. That information should be benefited by the agriculture application. Industrial applications are there, so many in construction, mixture of construction, bridge, road, buildings, all can be maintained by sensing applications. Healthcare is a huge application, especially our elderly care and child care. Okay, underground coal minings in the mine. So many sensors are deployed, and and the information is controlled to the controller room, and from controller room the situation is controlled, and maybe the coal miners head cap is there, sensor is fitted, so that can be alerted to the all miners, don't go through the path where actually there is a sense that have a sense that methane gas or explosive gas is there. Okay, don't try to avoid this path. Okay, so that can be done by sensor application. And sensor in education is quite current topic, because we are handling a native project, that is AI based education, where actually sensor plays an important role. How to motivate those children which lack the confidence, for their dyslexic patient, dyslexic children or like that, they are slow learners, how to motivate them, that can be done by a way that is AI based technique, where sensor has played a major role, and we are currently dealing with this project. Now, the time to correlate WSN with IoT, because ultimately you have seen there is a communication between device to device and device to human communication that may be done either with continuous process or event driven process or query driven process. Continuous process means the all sensors send their data to their sink by continuous manner. Or event driven means if any event occurred, then sensor can only send this data to the sink. And query driven means the base station can make a query to the sensors by broadcasting approach, and then sensor can actually send their data against this query. So this type of communication, device to device, device to human communication, that can be possible in three ways: continuous, event driven, and query driven way. So nowadays around 25 to 50 billion devices expected to be connected to the internet, because we have to utilize the power of internet, extreme power of internet. So we are all connecting with internet such that our communication process much faster, as well as we can live in smarter way. Okay, so that needs actually makes you a platform, that is IoT platform. So use those devices, and all of those devices poses internet connectivity. So if we use those devices with internet connectivity, we can build an IoT platform. But main objective of this creating IoT platform that to simplify and enrich human activities and experience in an optimized way. Okay, smarter means an optimized way to simplify and enrich human activities and experience. So this is the we are arriving at the time that where we can discuss something on IoT, but you can conclude that WSN used within an IoT system. Now you can perhaps it is clear that network, sensor network can be used within an IoT system because you have to connect it with network, internet. So already you have known the definition of IoT in several aspects. So many sessions are already gone through this, and now I have a responsibility again. It is repeated, that is definition of IoT. It's a combination of an embedded technology including wireless communication, sensor, actuated devices, and physical objects connected to the internet. So already you have gone through several IoT technologies, but repeatedly I am telling that now the era of IoT data analytics, okay, because IoT requires data. So many, if more data are available, that can be efficiently handled, and obviously that can be analysis how first raw data is collected, and obviously that can be processed. Why? To in order to extract the knowledge. So that knowledge representation is much more effective. In another perspective, how to utilize those IoT data, that means IoT device which are now handling those data, that should be stored, that should be processed, and that should be from that you have to extract the knowledge and you have to make a decision. Okay, that decision should be fruitful for any improvement. So IoT is not only a solution. Now we are discussing IoT data analytics, because much more data that is beneficial for other services also. So why IoT development is needed? In a single statement, a smarter environment and a simplified lifestyle. All of us, we require the smarter environment, simplified lifestyle. How to save money, time, and energy. Okay, so these are the requirements for which IoT is developed. Okay, and to develop this IoT, what are the major components are required? Sensors. Already we have concluded that WSN is used within an IoT system, and processing network, connectivity is a major factor, and data analysis and system monitoring. Okay, so data analysis is another major component for IoT development, such that we can monitor the entire system in a controlled way. Okay, so IoT development objective is like that. And already Professor Mishra shown that IoT is not a single solution or not a single ultimate solution. It is integrated with various technologies, and we are discussing about here IoT data analytics. So IoT is integrated with so many AI based techniques, so many machine learning algorithm, data mining techniques are there. So many complex algorithms are there, neural network, pattern recognition, that are also associated with any IoT application. Then you will be able to make analysis on this IoT data. Okay, but to deal with the entire environment, the connectivity is a necessary and sufficient condition. Okay, and obviously connectivity is a necessary and sufficient condition of this entire environment that makes enhanced communication protocols. Okay, so IoT communication protocols are there. Mainly IoT communication protocols, three types: device to device, that may be done between two nearby mobile phones; device to server, that data sent to the server because huge processing is required, and because to process and then the knowledge extraction is possible; and server to server communication, it requires that three types of communication protocols are there to build an IoT framework, that is device to device, device to server, and server to server, that server transmit data between each other. So to do this job, a critical challenge is there. That means to establish this communication, the critical challenge for us is how to process and prepare those data for communication. How to process and prepare those data for communication. There are some different kinds of data processing technique we will discuss. Obviously, some of these edge analytics, some of these IoT data analytics, database analysis. Okay, so many kinds of data processing are there for before communication. Okay, so if we make a summary for this IoT discussion, so three steps are there. Three steps can be evaluated. One is the sensors and IoT device collect information from the environment. This is first step. Second, knowledge extracted from the raw data, and this information should be transferred to other object, device or server through the internet that can be utilized by the users. Okay, so these are the three-step summary. Now in last slide, that is IoT communication protocol, the challenge was processing and preparation of data. So to process and preparation of data, the actually processing data, IoT computing framework is responsible. And depending on the application and process location, different types of computing frameworks are used. And you can know some of those terms, that is fog computing, edge computing, cloud computing, distributed computing. Actually all are distributed in nature, so distributed computing is just last. So based on the application need and process location, we are actually apply those computing framework to process data. So if the instant data processing is required, we prefer fog computing, because we require very fast response time. And I will show you a figure that can be realized with this figure. But if the application needs instant processing of data, we will go through fog computing rather than cloud computing, because higher response time is cloud computing. Okay, so edge computing, and possibly tomorrow there is a session, Dr. Orpon Pal from TCS, and he is quite pioneer in this field, and he will discuss in detail, that is the necessity of edge computing in industry. Okay, so if data should be processed upon generation wise, then we will prefer edge computing. And cloud computing, we have to send data to the data center, and after processing we can access this. And distributed computing, possibly all, that huge volume of data should be processed in different location with different CPUs, okay, different computers. So processing high volume of data in separate location with different computers, that is the main objective of distributed computing. And these types of computing are actually used to process this data for data communication. So if you see the just like pyramid figure, the lower level edge devices are there, billions number of devices, then fog nodes, and ultimately cloud data centers are there. And it should be more clarified in this figure. See the axis, slower to faster, that is processing fees, speed and response type. Depending on that, you can make a logical hierarchical presentation of these different types of computing framework. Industrial IoT data processing layer stack, obviously mainly cloud layers, fog layers and edge layers are there. Depending on that, please go through those application. Then you have to apply the proper computing framework. Next. So already Dr. Barnell actually discussed a depth discussion by Barnell on IoT applications, especially smart city a special session was there, separate session was there. I will discuss little bit because obviously ultimately we have to conclude something. So mainly primary application of IoT is a smart city in different aspects, and smart I have already discussed. What is smartness? That is we have to uh, spend less expenditure, that is in cost, in terms of cost, in terms of money, in terms of time, money and energy. And obviously how to make it less, obviously we will find optimized solution. So smart city is one of the primary application of IoT, and you can see several scopes are there: traffic management, education I have discussed just, water quality, smart health, public safety, smart home, smart environment. Okay, so many open issues are there, for making a smart city in different components. And the mainly use cases are there, use cases, special use cases, that is smart energy. That energy is also smart, that is making energy smart by how? By renewable energy, by smart grid. So many solutions are there, by sleep awake mode. Okay, so you have to optimize energy consumption. That is actual goal of making a smart energy. Smart mobility. So what is smart mobility? You can have autonomous car, automatic car, then you can have public transport in automatically done. So that is smart mobility. Smart car, smart transport system, smart plan, smart road transport, etc. Smart citizens. Smart citizens means that obviously home appliances are there, by make a smart citizen, and especially the on with the respect of security. The citizens are smart. That means if any alarm message against this security, so and nowadays the elderly care is a primary concern, because all are alone with in their flats. Okay, so many social threats are there. So from how to utilize this IoT framework in that respect, that they can help, they get help from police. Okay, so smart citizens, that is the main object. And you just 1 year before, I know that near to our Durgapur Asansol municipality, that are actually doing this project to save the older men and women from social threat. So that is smart citizens. And urban planning, okay, so very essential. So how to go for urban planning? That means analysis of the data. That means day by day complexity of infrastructure and increase in population. Actually proper urban planning is required. So that up to after 5 years, which city will be most crowded in our West Bengal? So that can be decided by making a decision from IoT data analysis. Okay, so that is one of the concern of urban planning. Obviously it's an IoT application to making a smart city, because if you make some planning in advance, then obviously it will be better city to stay here. Now we are quite familiar with the term, that is quality of service. In case of network, quality of service, QoS, in any sort of network, in any sort of data communication protocol that are related with finding QoS or estimating QoS. So many parameters are there. Maybe those parameters are conflicting in nature, but in case of IoT data analytics, quality of information is another term that are primary concern. Okay, so you are just analyzing those data, analyzing those raw data from that can be captured from sensor, and if your data is quite good in nature, obviously goodness of data, that your knowledge extraction should be proper. So quality of information is one of the prime goal of IoT data analytics, and three factors are there for capturing good data, that is error in measurements or precision of data collection, device noise in the environment, and discrete observations and measurements. Okay, so data quality, how to measure data quality with the factor redundancy, accuracy, dynamicity, granularity. These are the corresponding factors to make a quality data. And if you have quality data, you have quality of information, so just makes a linear calculation. Okay, so quality of data and how to improve accuracy. Obviously when you are measuring data, we are capturing those data, you have to select trustworthy sources and combining them. Okay, then you will get the accurate data. And in case of suppose measurement precision. Okay, so that means you have to increase the frequency of sampling, then precision of data collection, that should be good. Okay, and dynamicity and continuous streaming data is available. Streaming data is available, so that can reflect your knowledge or information. Okay, because meaningful information actually knowledge. So dynamicity means if you change the position or location or time of the sensor, that means location change in the of the sensor, you will get another data. Okay, so all of these factors should be considered to get quality of data, such that quality of information to have possible. Okay, so this is quality QoI, which is much more related with IoT data analytics, because you know QoS, but this is one of the factors. Now we are discussing about IoT data analytics and how this analysis is possible. Obviously through some machine learning algorithms, and you know three types of algorithms are there: supervised, unsupervised, and reinforcement learning. So based on that, you can make for a suitable application. You have to consider the application, and you can side by side you can think which type of algorithm is applicable for this application, which type of parameter to optimize here. So that is your concern for IoT smart data analysis. And one of the example table is shown here. So many examples: smart traffic, smart health, smart environment, weather prediction. So these are the smart agriculture. These are IoT applications, and in left portion corresponding machine learning algorithms are there, and which type of parameter to or metric to optimize here, it is also discussed. So in case of IoT smart data analytics, first you have to go through the IoT applications. That means which type of application is there, then suitable machine learning algorithm is used, and ultimately choose those. And whenever you are just going through this application, the metric should be optimized, that is also determined, and then you go for a machine learning algorithm execution. Then you have to predict something, you have to conclude in the form of rule extraction. So many data analyses are possible. Now after discussing IoT, because just last table, so many algorithms, so many applications are there which are energy critical. So we need energy efficiency of IoT. Okay, so again we are going to conclude something, that is IoT applications are there. So if we are using IoT application, obviously parallelly we should concern about the energy efficiency of IoT. Okay, so now the figure shows that we require so many devices are there that are interconnected through internet, but you have to make it the green environment. So energy efficiency of IoT, that means you are intended for green computing. Okay, you have to use the technology, but parallelly you have to obviously concern about energy crisis. Okay, so you make your obviously it's a philosophy, you make your surroundings as much as possible green. Okay, so that is the need of green computing, one of the. And we are discussing here about IoT application and main optimization to calculate this energy. There are so many energy models are there. Though that are proposed by so many authors, okay, in research paper, and it's just it's a view on so many smart systems are there that are energy critical, and obviously in that application we our main objective how to optimize the energy. Okay, so main concern of IoT application here, that energy is a critical parameter, you have to optimize it and then go for enjoy the application outcome. And if you go through some technical report, it's a technical report I have already cited in reference. Okay, and so many smart system are there: smart road, smart lighting, smart street lighting, smart appliances, actually home automation, smart lighting. Okay, so many appliances applications are there, and standby energy consumption are there, and you see the nature of those energy consumption in different application up to 2050, the 2025. The nature of this curve is just like this, and there is actually prioritized application. So many, it depends on government policy, demand, current demand. Okay, so many factors are there for which IT application is popular now, that depends. Okay, but all are this energy critical because all are estimated in terms of energy consumption. Now actually we are doing some little bit work on energy efficiency in street lighting system, though it is neglected in different smart city, because Professor Misra discussed that 40 city are selected to make it smart. Okay, and our Durgapur or Asansol, nearby Asansol, that is also included. But if you make a smart city, obviously one of the major need is street lighting system should be smart and it is energy efficient. Because if you see this, that some benefits and some demerits are there. One benefit, so if your street lighting is not proper within a city, some crimes, some vehicle accidents, and comfort safeties are not there. You are insecure when you are passing through a dark road. Okay, you are always thinking what to happen in next. Okay, next step. So smart street lighting is a major component of a smart city, and obviously that should be energy efficient. Why? Because electricity is obviously a critical resource. Obviously we have to consume energy, and maintenance cost is when you are deploying those street lights or installing those street lights, its maintenance cost is also there. Obviously that should be less. And light pollution, you have to know, you possibly know so many types of pollution: air pollution, water pollution, noise pollution, etc., etc. But light pollution is another cause that are mainly originated from these street lights. Unnecessary wastage of energy, unnecessary waste emission of carbon dioxide. So light pollution creates, and ultimately it can break our ecological structure. And so many insects are there that are found in earlier, but you cannot see nowadays. Okay, so that is the cause of light pollution. So street lighting system is one of the major concern to make a smart city, and that should be energy efficient. Okay, because if you go through the demerits, you can realize. So in a recent work, we have to show the how to energy consumption, reduced energy consumption is obtained, and there are objective function minimizing of these, and some interrelated parameters are there, mainly just in last session smart city, Dr. Barnwell show a slide. They are doing the same job in their campus, and they, what are the factors? Mainly the active time. That means, in street lights unnecessary it is on, so we have to adopt a system when when a man or when a vehicle is passed through the on the through this region where light post is there. At that time only light post will be on. So wastage, some sort of wastage should be reduced. Okay, so that light posts are installed in a distance, and distance between two light posts are also a factor. Okay, so the light post installation, that means light posts are installed in a distance apart such that it can reduce the active time. That means active time means when we are passing through this, that time should be it is on. That means this is the active time and average brightness of the light. So if that when we are passing through this, the corresponding light is full on, and the two sides lights are just proportionally its brightness is controlled. That is our main objective, and as a result energy consumption is reduced accordingly. So and traffic volume is also considered here, how many traffic volumes on that road. We have data set, we have to go through this calculation, and this is one of the experiment. We have gone through, so many parameters are there, corresponding parameters. We have made a situation, and some results of this paper are, that is, the sensor based scheme obviously has less energy consumption rather than manual scheme. Manual scheme means the municipality worker go and at the time of evening they switch on, and the whole night it is in full brightness. So many energy is lost, unnecessary wastage of energy. So that is better. That is much better than manual scheme. And so many existing approach where actually that brightness is varied. Okay, and our result shows better. And another work in this regard, this is also our recent work, another important, where we have installed light post by considering the ratio of the width of the road as well as height of the light post. So this ratio ultimately based on this R value, you can classify three types of road. One-sided road, that means that light posts are installed in a single side. Light posts are installed in two side in a coupled way. That means left side to right side, one couple is there. So that's value is another, and staggered way. So many standard road condition or street condition there. Based on R value, we are emphasizing on how to make energy efficient this street lighting system. That means light post installation is also a factor, and in that case to implement this, we have obviously, we always in that type of research we also validate with CIE recommendation. That means your result how much close to CIE recommendation. What is CIE? That means International Commission of Illuminance. So road conditions may be three types of classes, that is P class, that means P lighting class, that means pedestrians and low speed area. conflict area. Conflict area means where the junction points are there, street, more conflicting area, and motor vehicles are going through a road. That, so depending on that class, you are making 3 classes, P, C, M classes, and so many parameters. U0 parameter is a uniformity. So many objectives are there by which you are emphasizing that energy optimization, but considering the street condition. And some average illuminance, obviously the power, we have shown our results. And the recent work, most recent work, obviously uh, we have approached an ANN based framework for energy efficient, for getting energy efficient street lighting system, where some parameters are trained and we are predicting some value that should have minimum error, and these are our features and these are our results, and obviously it was accepted. And so many ANN based training is there, and your prediction is quite close to the CIE recommendation, and this validation can be possible with the software, software Dialux. So we are at the end of our discussion now. So mainly through this entire discussion, we have initially attempted in 3 separate regions, that is WSN, and then making an interface or coordination. WSN is a part of IoT, and then IoT is not an ultimate solution. So many associated technologies are there, and so many dimension are there, because IoT needs data. So you are proposing some technology which will work, and obviously it requires data such that it can extract knowledge to predict something or to make a decision. That decision should be good for us. Okay, so mainly research trends in IoT domain, that is IoT data characteristics, that means QoE, that QoI, that is quality of information. That means mainly pre-processing of data. Pre-processing of data that is concerned with IoT data characteristics. IoT applications, so you have to go for making IoT applications smarter applications. And last one is IoT data analytics. So these 3 are very popular research trends in IoT domain nowadays. So that is all. So many some of the well-known references I have used for making my presentation, and thank you.